very, very quiet. I'm hunting wabbits. Ladies and gents, internet, let's keep a low profile. My name is Peridiam, and we've got a few more eggs to find. They say you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, and in the case of this video, that has no bearing on anything. Regardless, check out part 1 if you missed it, but otherwise, here are 5 more secret Easter eggs hidden in Survivor. Shh. In the previous video, I talked about Debbie, the mother of dragons, and her many job titles over the span of her time on Survivor. Whenever her name popped up on the screen, in the lower third, her job title switched. But this wasn't the first time the editors had a laugh and took advantage of this subtle joke, because another funny Easter egg you may have missed is from season 22, Redemption Island, when former federal agent Phillip Shepard emerged from the jungle onto our screens and was met with a dollop of speculation. He caused a bit of a stir out of the gate within his tribe and didn't seem to garner much respect from his tribe mates. His social game definitely could have used some work, but beyond that, there was a strange little recurring gag whenever his name popped up in a confessional. And I guess his social game didn't translate very well to the editing suite either. Just like with Debbie, Phillip emphasized his profession, and he said that he was a former federal agent. And while that isn't unbelievable, at the same time, Phillip also said to have a relationship with somebody from 1870, so understandably, this did put into question some of his claims. Phillip's profession said, former federal agent, ... with a question mark next to it. From his first confessional to his last, all season.
I heard somebody say to me, that when you look at this game, a lot of people get really super paranoid, right? The thing about me and any shepherd, no. I mean, Rob, he's sizing me up. So I like to think of it like 2 male lions. They're checking each other out. It's like, hey.
Let it be a lesson to you. Government jobs is stressful.
Objection, but it was confirmed at the reunion show that he was, in fact, a former federal agent, but the speculation all season, particularly from the editors, was a subtle little Easter egg.
I served with the Defense Investigative Service as a special agent, and I also worked with the Naval Investigative Service as an adjudicator.
But if that drag wasn't enough, let's talk about Benjamin Coach Wade on season 20, Survivor, Heroes versus Villains. Just like Phillip the Specialist, we all know Coach is larger than life. He is a man of many words. He's also a little extra. So leave it to Coach to spice up even the smallest of details in his game, and in this case, this next Easter egg comes from the voting booth at Tribal Council. You see, starting in episode 3, when Coach first went to Tribal Council, when he went up to cast his vote, he would write down something random on his parchment. When Jeff was revealing the votes at the Villains Tribal Councils, you may have noticed there was a small number in the corner of one of the votes. Indeed, that was Coach's vote. He wrote down the numbers 4, 18, 1, and 7. Okay. Why? Well, beyond speaking the secret Dragon Slayer language, each number was corresponding to a letter in the alphabet. Coach was attempting to alphanumerically spell out the words Dragon Slayer, which, if you do the math, would require 12 votes cast in total. This is a pretty lofty goal, meaning he would need to reach the end of the season, but unfortunately, he was voted out only after his 4th tribal council, meaning instead of spelling Dragon Slayer, he just spelled drag.
This time, I slay everyone and trust no one.
A knight, the Dragon Slayer, to be part of my kingdom, the king and the Dragon Slayer.
The only important thing on this piece of paper is this number up here. The only important thing on this piece of paper is this number up here.
But to make this even more amusing, Coach added the number 14 to his jury vote at the end for Parvati, meaning he kind of spelled dragon without the O. Ragn. Also, for a fun bit of trivia, when he returned 3 seasons later for Survivor South Pacific, he actually did make it to 12 tribal councils, enough to spell out the words, but instead he decided to cut down on the antics and didn't write the numbers down. What a drag. And while we're still on the subject of dragging, what about dragging around a player who can't even walk? This 3rd Easter egg is hidden in plain sight, and it only makes an appearance for a handful of seconds over the span of the season, as we're talking about Season 30, Survivor, Worlds Apart. Season 30 was divided into 3 tribes, the no-callers, the white-collars, and the blue-collars. And as per usual, every Survivor tribe has their own color, their own logo, their own buff, their own banner, and of course, their own tribe flag. So let's take a look at the blue-collar tribe flag for a second. Notice anything interesting about it? Here's another shot from the merge when the flag was changed to the merge tribe. Well, if you look closely, you'll notice it says America.
America.
But more than that, the stick at the bottom of the flag used in the frame isn't just any ordinary stick. This stick is actually a stick from the prior season 29 San Juan del Sur, and it is the same stick, or should I say crutch, that Missy Payne used when she hurt her ankle in the episode 12 reward challenge. A season prior, 29, at the end of the season, Missy had to start using a cane, which was then modified into a makeshift crutch with 2 sticks tethered together, and for whatever reason, that crutch was then used to make up the blue-collar tribe flag in the following season. And yeah, it made it to the merged tribe flag too. Hey, who'da thunk? Missy Payne, carrying America.
America. So I love our tribe name so much that I'm gonna be a criminal defense attorney. And as a criminal defense attorney, you are part of the Constitution.
We have the worst tribe name in Survivor history. We didn't go for America, we dropped the A and went for America.
All in favor?
Aye.
One of the most well-known Easter eggs in film is a very peculiar scream. It's called the Wilhelm Scream, and if you've ever watched a Star Wars movie, you have definitely heard it, even if you didn't realize it. This scream sound effect was actually created back in the 50s, but became popularized thanks to it being hidden in the Star Wars films starting in the 70s, and since then making random appearances in almost all of the films. And yup, this little Easter egg is also in Survivor. To the best of my knowledge, I have only ever heard it used one time in over 40 seasons, and that was also during the season we just talked about, season 30, Worlds Apart. In episode 8, the players compete in a reward challenge involving climbing up a ladder and then sliding down a slope into the water. And at one point, we get 2 of the best falls in Survivor history side by side. First, we see Dan climb to the top, and this happens.
Hey, baby, go, jump!
Huge fall by Dan!
Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, that's not an Easter egg as far as I'm aware, but it is another classic Foley moment. But the Wilhelm Scream Easter egg happens when a guy, appropriately named Will, of course, falls down the slope right after Dan.
Go, Will!
Wow!
You hear that? That's the Easter egg. It's quick, it's kind of painful, and it's a funny little reference you may have missed.
2 of the most awkward slides in the history of Survivor.
But let's end this video on a high note, not on a dead fish screaming down a ramp. This extra reference, this tiny little Easter egg, is a small nod most people are going to miss, but I really loved. It's from the Ponderosa videos of Season 40 Survivor Winners at War. If you're not familiar with Ponderosa, that is the name of the place that the players go to when they're voted out. They usually just like hang out, eat a lot of food, it's just a free vacation for however many days are left in the game. And more than that, the eliminated players' experiences are recorded just like the episodes and are uploaded online after each episode. With season 40, all of the eliminated players showed up to Ponderosa late in the season due to a twist, but when they did arrive, the first person to get off the boat and walk across the boardwalk into Ponderosa was Wendell Holland, the winner of season 36. And as Wendell is walking, you can hear him rapping a few lines from a song.
Approach the magnificent Ponderosa.
Living my dream on Ponderosa. Smoke for the faces. I call it Sammy Sosa.
Now, if you go back to season 36, which is the season that Wendell won, the player that Wendell voted off at the merge was a guy named Chris Noble. And let me tell you a little bit about Chris Noble. Chris Noble loved to rap. It was one of his favorite things to do to pass the time, but when Wendell voted him out, he said this to Chris.
We won a lot together. Respect for that. But socially, you don't know what you're doing. Stop rapping. You're trash at rapping. You're garbage at rapping. You can't rap. You have no bars. Put the mic down, bro. Put the pen down, bro. Use an eraser.
So Chris Noble takes his sick beats and goes to Ponderosa, and while he's there, he decides to put together his own music video. And let me tell you, it is one of the strangest, most random pieces of Survivor lore I have ever seen. And because of that, I have always been in love with how ridiculous it is. And guess what? One of the lyrics in Chris's music video is...
Living a dream on Ponderosa. Swung for the fences, I call it Sammy Sosa.
So when Wendell gets voted off as the merge boot of season 40, the same placement as Chris, and he is the first to get to Ponderosa, the same as Chris, and he's singing the same lyrics as the guy that he told was terrible at rapping frankly, I am left with no choice but to include this little perfect Easter egg. And if I'm being honest, connecting and explaining all these dots is equally ridiculous, but then that's the beauty of what I'm doing here.
Living a dream on Ponderosa. Swung for the fences, I call it Sammy Sosa. We juice all day and toss the corks in the roasters. Probes on deck, feel the burn when he hosts ya.
Living my dream on Ponderosa. Swung for the fences, I call it Sammy Sosa.
Juice all day and toss the corks in the roasters. Probes on deck, feel the burn when he hosts ya.
So there you go. That's 5 more secret Easter eggs hidden in Survivor. And I could keep going, and maybe one day soon I will, but either way, feel free to let me know what you think about all of this. Are there any other Easter eggs you want me to talk about in a future video? Thank you to my patrons on the screen for not putting the pen down. I love your bars. And thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget, on your way out, the eggs aren't real. They're made of plastic. And for that matter, neither is the Easter Bunny. Not real. Sorry for the spoiler. And I will see you in the next one once I figure out which came first, the chicken or the Easter egg.
There's been some talk about how this egg chicken process works, but I really think everyone's just pretending to know and they don't know.
So they're like asexual? Does like the rooster have to get it on with one of the hens to make
I was
eggs?
wondering that.
Nobody knows how a chicken is born. I can't even believe that some of this stuff comes out of people's mouths. Don't you carry eggs?
Oh, so like another guy has to come up and like fertilize it? Oh.
We all know the egg came first because dinosaurs had eggs. They were before the chickens. So